So just days after Bill Gates told us on Twitter that he was getting a divorce, there is new information about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. You know, those conspiracy theorists say a small group of really powerful people control the world and have an interest in... Maybe true. We're learning more tonight about Bill Gates' relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Fox's Trace Gallagher joins us with more on that story. Hey, Trace.
Hey, Tucker, the timeline here is key because the Daily Beast is reporting that Bill Gates started hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein in 2011. Now, remember, in 2008, Epstein was convicted in Florida of having sex with a 14-year-old girl. So 3 years after Epstein's child sex conviction, Bill Gates reportedly starts meeting with Epstein to get advice on how to end his, quote, toxic marriage to Melinda Gates. And it wasn't just a few meetings, but reportedly a series of meetings over several years at Epstein's $77 million New York townhouse. And the fact that Gates and Epstein were close is apparently something that Melinda Gates found disturbing. Now, a representative of Bill Gates says the reporting on how many times Bill Gates met with Jeffrey Epstein and the reason for those meetings is not accurate. Another Gates Foundation employee says Bill Gates was only socializing with the sex offender to gain access to Epstein's professional connections, though one would assume the fourth richest man in the world would have his own connections. A man who wrote a book on the Gates-Epstein relationship says the divorce proceedings may shed some light. Watch.
The fact that this will likely go to court, or that there will be court proceedings, that there will be perhaps an uglier battle, means that maybe, as far as the Epstein relationship with Bill Gates, maybe we'll get more and more details.
And don't you know that Jeffrey Epstein's victims are already asking for more details about that relationship, Tucker?
I bet they are. Maybe we can get some actual details. That would be great. And I know that you'll have them first. Trace Gallagher, thanks so much for that.
Yep.
So all over the country, beginning early last June, school curricula have changed completely and become explicitly political and openly racist. And most parents have just sat there on their hands and watched it happen and watched their kids hurt by it. But one group of parents in Loudoun County, Virginia, right outside Washington, is fighting back against all of this, against a curriculum that teaches their kids to hate their country and to judge their classmates based on how they look, on their skin color. Several parents had the courage to say this publicly a few days ago at a school board meeting. Watch.
CRT is not an honest dialogue. It is a tactic that was used by Hitler and the Ku Klux Klan on slavery very many years ago to dumb down my ancestors so we could not think for ourselves. CRT is racist. It is abusive. It discriminates against one's color. Let me educate you. An honest dialogue does not oppress. An honest dialogue does not implement hatred or injustice. It's to communicate without deceiving people. Today, we don't need your agreement. We want action and a backbone for what we asked for today, to ban CRT. I had to come down here today to tell you to your face that we are coming together and we are strong. This will not be the last. Greet and meet respectfully.
Wow. The first time we saw that video, our instant response was, that woman, her name is Chantel Cooper, deserves an award. She's a mother. She's a member of the group Parents Against Critical Theory. And we're very pleased to have her on the show tonight. Chantel Cooper, thank you very much for coming on. What made you do this? So many parents have not done this. You stood up there and did this on camera. Why?
Well, it contradicts everything that Martin Luther King fought for. It's hatred, Marxist ideology, and it places the child in a loophole of oppression, making them feel as a victim. I can't stand for that.
Amazing. Amazing. So describe the kinds of things that you're fighting against. So the school is teaching children to judge one another on the basis of appearance, of skin color. Is that right?
Yes. Well, it's our job as parents to raise our children, not the school board. One example I can give you was the school was replacing the morning announcement with news. The second, children reached out to find out how they could help and join a club to see if they could, relate with one another, undivided. And they were denied by the color of their skin for the Equity Ambassador Club.
So certain kids couldn't get into, I don't even know what colors you're talking about, but the fact remains kids could not get into a club because they were the wrong color.
Correct.
Well, how is that different from darker periods periods we consider evil in American history. That sounds very similar.
Well, plain example. You cannot further brotherhood of a man by encouraging class hatred. Our Constitution is what unites us, not the color of our skin.
Yes.
So America, it's just time for us to stand up for one another. You know, this is the last free country.
Wow. What was the response? I love to hear you say that, and I agree with that 100%. What was the response when you did this? When you spoke so publicly about what your school was teaching?
Well, it's been positive. I never knew that there were so many parents that felt the way I did. I love people. So for anyone to go against, you know, good, but be okay with evil, you can't fix a bad reaction with another bad action. It just doesn't make sense.
That's right. That's exactly right. Chantel Cooper, I'm so glad that you came on the show tonight, and what a voice you are. I hope people will emulate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It was our honor. So everything has changed in the past 5 years, but certainly in the past 5 months. All of a sudden, one side seems to have all the power at every level of American society. This has all kinds of effects, but one of them is people who aren't in power are deeply rethinking what it is they believe in and what their party should be doing for them. One of the emerging thinkers on this subject, one of the intellectuals you should pay attention to in the years going forward,